Hey guys, so today's April 22nd. It holds a special place in my heart, this date. April 22nd, 1985 was my first day of Navy boot camp. April 22nd, 1989 was my last day in the Navy. And every April 22nd, I kick myself in the butt saying, man, I'd have been retired from the Navy now 19 years, I think, today. But when you're a kid, when you're young, 20 years seems like a long time, but it goes fast, trust me. If you're in the military, I would stay, do the 20 or the 30 even. But it's also Earth Day. And it's no coincidence, Earth Day started on April 22nd, 1970, on Vladimir Lenin's 100th birthday. Because all the environmentalists that are involved in Earth Day and the leaders that are pushing this climate agenda are communist. It's no coincidence. They don't hide it. I don't know why anybody else denies it. In 1970, these environmentalists were saying we're headed for a new ice age. The world is going to freeze. The answer was more government control. We need communism. Then it was global warming. Oh my goodness. Florida's going to be in the ocean. Al Gore said Florida will be underwater in 2012. Manhattan will be underwater in 2012. What's the answer, according to these communists? The answer is more government control over your life. Now they say climate change because some places getting colder and some places are getting warmer. So what's the answer to climate change? More government control. And why is there such a communist presence on all these Ivy League campuses? Well, I did a video about a year ago and I showed you. And, I'm getting ready to go to work here, so I'm in my work van, but when I get a chance, I'll put the sources down in the comments. I'll pin them for you. The fact is, in the past, recent history, Communist China, the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party, has donated $1 billion to all the Ivy League schools combined. Harvard being the number one recipient, they got $100 million from the Communist Chinese. You think no strings are attached to that? You're crazy. You're crazy if you think there's no strings attached. And, I remember when I was coming up in the 80s, watching these KGB guys come on like 60 Minutes and different shows. They left the KGB, left Russia, and they came over to America, and we protected them. And they said, yeah, Russia knows they can't defeat us militarily, so they're going to defeat us from within. They're going to get into our universities, and they're going to concentrate on the top universities, the Ivy League schools, and they're going to teach our kids that America is bad. And you see that, and you wonder, you got to be really smart to get into Harvard and Yale. You got to score high. But I noticed, we homeschool our kids for 12 years, and homeschool all of them their whole time, and some of them only for a very short time. But we taught our kids how to think. The United States public school system teaches kids what to think, and then these universities teach them what to think. So they just got to have good memories and know, okay, this is the agenda, Government sucks. America sucks. Government is great. America sucks. We need more government to control American, And so this is why you see so many communist professors. And I'm not talking about liberal, really liberal Democrats. I'm talking communists. My kid, when he went to University of Central Florida here, he researched all his professors, every single one, every year. And we would go on their social media and we would laugh. It was, how ridiculous these guys are, but it's really not funny. These guys were quoting Mao, Chairman Mao of China, Lenin, who they celebrate his birthday and call it Earth Day. They're communists. Their quotes were all communists. And these are the teachers training up our young people, these professors. And they're in all the colleges. You see, UCF is just a state college, but they're more concentrated in the elite colleges. This is why Barack Obama, in his autobiography, said his favorite professors were the Marxist professors at Harvard University. And his favorite thing to do on the weekend was to go to Marxist rallies. And then he becomes president of the United States. And no coincidence, he puts John Brennan as the head of the CIA, who under a lie detector test had to admit he voted for a communist. In 1978, Gus, if you know Gus's last name, he was a communist when I was a kid. I think I was a teenager when he ran. And he actually voted for a communist. He was the head of the CIA. So no wonder the CIA has all these people out to get Trump and people that are anti-establishment, that are harsh on China and harsh on Russia, But that $1 billion from the Chinese compares in comparison to what these Arab countries have given to these Ivy Leagues. In the past few years, they've given 8 times. So imagine the Ivy League schools got $1 billion altogether from communist China. They took $8 billion from Middle Eastern Arab countries. So no wonder you see anti-Semitic protests all over Harvard, Cornell, Yale, Columbia. People were amazed when that Cornell professor, right after October 7th, after we learned that Hamas, which is a more evil terrorist organization than ISIS and Al-Qaeda, like they're probably the worst terrorists that ever lived, went into Israel, decapitated babies, like 2-month-old babies in front of their parents, raped little boys and little girls in front of their parents, put babies in ovens. These people are Satan incarnate, this Hamas terrorist group. If you compare what they did on October 7th, the amount of people they slaughtered and massacred, I think it was like 1,700, compared to the 3,000 that were killed at 9/11, and you put in, if you average out population-wise, it would be like 9/11 with 50,000 people getting slaughtered. We leveled Afghanistan. We would have leveled Gaza, and we would have leveled Iran, and nobody would be complaining about it. Nobody would be taking a knee. In fact, I remember after 9/11, the New York Giants all ran out with American flags. Can you imagine if someone took a knee that day? No one would have taken a knee. They needed 8 years of Obama and his Marxist media conditioning our minds that America was evil. That's when people started taking the knee. But getting back to the anti-Semitism going on campus, it shouldn't surprise you. The Marxist media for years have, they project the way the liberals are and the communists are. They try and make their opposition look. So for years they said, the problem, and we have this huge problem of skinheads, of all these anti-Semite skinheads and radical white people and white supremacists. I haven't seen any skinheads out there protesting. If they were, I'd call them out as evil, just as I'm calling out these anti-Semite college students. But you don't see it. Nobody's talking about it. All it is, it's liberal Democrats. It's the Democrat Party. These are Democrat activists chanting death to Israel, death to America. From river to sea means they want to slaughter the Israelites from river to sea. So I'm getting back to that Cornell professor. Right after the slaughter, he comes out in a rally, said he's never been so exhilarated. He's never been so happy. This was wonderful. And all these anti-Semite students were cheering him on. And Jewish kids are feeling unsafe on Ivy League schools, and they should be, because these anti-Semites are violent. They're part of Antifa, they're part of all that, the violence on the left. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Alan Dershowitz, who's a Democrat activist my whole life, he's like probably 80 now. He's been a Democrat activist. He campaigned for Hillary, he campaigned for Obama. He came out years ago and said there's an anti-Semitism problem in America, and it's coming from our side, meaning his side, the left. He said 90% of anti-Semitism in America is coming from the Democrat Party, and he was right. And now, the Democrat establishment knows it's wrong. Sometimes, you got to be careful what you wish for. They like to control what they call their useless idiots, useful idiots. Lenin paraphrased that, useful idiots. You have people believe in stuff that you don't even believe, just so you can use them. So now their useful idiots are turning on him because Biden has to support Israel, because he knows if Israel falls, we're in big trouble, man. We're in big trouble. So he knows he has to support him. So he's getting trouble from his own party. In Minnesota, during the primary, you had like 40,000 people. Democrats voted for nobody. It's I forgot the term they used, but basically it was a message to them: we're not going to vote for you unless you stop supporting Israel. So now, being the grifter, corrupt politician he is, he's speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's telling Israel will support him and he's sending money, but he's trying to hold them back, just like the politicians did to us in Vietnam. And that's when innocent people get killed. And I hear the objection, oh, well, innocent people are getting killed in Gaza. Listen, I forget the exact year, and maybe I'm working, so I'm not looking up, doing the research. I'm doing everything by memory here. But I do know it was George Bush. Under George Bush, Israel gave Gaza to the Palestinian people. They wanted a two-state solution. You run your state any way you want, we run ours. And I remember people criticizing George Bush, saying they're going to let the terrorists run. He goes, no, people love freedom. We're going to give them the right to vote. They're going to vote for good people. So the Palestinian people had a chance to vote for a good government that wanted peace with Israel. And they were getting hundreds of billions of dollars. Imagine, hundreds of billions of dollars. They were given the prime piece of real estate, as Trump would call it, on the Mediterranean Sea. Beautiful beachhead, beautiful countryside on the Mediterranean. They could have built resorts. They could be the wealthiest country in the Middle East. They got so much free money. Instead, when the vote came and George Bush said, no, we're not gonna interfere. They're gonna vote, because George Bush, a lot of people bash him now, but I believe he was a good president and he had good intentions. And what he said was, and what he believed, and his doctrine was, that all people want to be free. But I don't think he understood how conditioned these Palestinians were. Since kindergarten, they're trained that Israelites and Americans are pigs and they need to be killed. So the Palestinian people, instead of voting for a government that would have peace with Israel and use those hundreds of billions of dollars to help the poor because they were very impoverished, they voted for Hamas. And Hamas has won every election overwhelmingly since, like not even close. And what does Hamas do with all the hundreds of billions of dollars we give them from the West? They built tunnels and bombs and missiles to kill Israelites. And in their constitution, their number one goal isn't for a free, prosperous nation. Their number one goal is to kill every Jew and eliminate Israel from the face of the earth, from river to sea. The chant you hear the Harvard students saying all the time, from river to sea. They want to kill them all. And then they want to kill us, Americans. And one interesting thing, another thing that they built a lot of, they have more hospitals per capita than any country in the world, because their hospitals are their military bases. So when Israel hits their military base, they say, oh, they hit a hospital, but they're just a military base. These are evil people. They use babies, their own babies, as human shields. They use their own wives as human shields. They love seeing babies killed on the news so they can say, look how evil Israel is. But before Israel drops any bombs, they drop leaflets telling the civilians to leave. Unfortunately, sometimes Hamas don't let them leave. Sometimes they get out. America killed more civilians in Afghanistan, and we don't do it on purpose. We don't target. America and Israel, we don't target civilians. We do our best to have precision bombing. But in war, it's hard, especially urban warfare like the Israelites are in. So every death in Gaza, Hamas is responsible for. Every death in Israel, Hamas is responsible for. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because there are going to be a lot of people that unsubscribe from me because they hate when I talk politics, and a lot of them disagree. A lot of people hate Israel today. Even people that call themselves Christians hate Israel. Or they disagree with me how we should deal with Israel. But so please subscribe, because I know I'm going to get a bunch of people to unsubscribe after this video. And it is Catholic to worry about war, you know? There's such a thing as a just war. When you're attacked and you defend yourself, it's a just war, according to the Catholic Church. You know, we were attacked on 9/11. We were minding our own business. The Israels attacked on October 7th. They were minding their own business. They just hate us because they hate freedom. They hate Jews and they hate Christians. This is why they attack. Simple as that. Hate. They're blinded by hate. They are blinded by hate. They are terrorists. They are terrorists. They're wicked. They're evil. They are Nazis. It would be like saying, oh, well, we got to be nice to the Nazis. And it's a direct result of Joe Biden's failed policy. Trump defunded Hamas. He didn't give them money to build bridges. He stopped giving money, allowing Iran to sell oil, because Iran gives them a ton of money. Biden comes in, starts giving Hamas hundreds of millions of dollars, lets Iran sell their oil again. He gets us from being oil energy independent to be dependent on the Middle East. So oil goes from $30 a barrel to $100 a barrel at one point. Now I think it's around 80. Therefore, Iran's making more money, because even if they were selling oil illegally, nobody needed it because America was producing so much and we got the price down to $30 a barrel, so they weren't making much on it anyway. Now they're getting filthy rich on selling oil because Biden we have sanctions, but he won't enforce them. Just like he won't enforce the laws on the border. He's a lawless president, you know, and he has his reasons, you know. Like I always say, follow the money. Jesus said, for the love of money is the root of all evil. And, you know, we're seeing all the corruption, you know, that we've been talking about for years. Is the evidence is coming out little by little, drip by drip. The media, you know, can't protect them forever. They're starting to get exposed. So anyway, I got to load this van up. God bless. Stay Catholic. And if you're in the military, stay in. In spite of the horrible commander-in-chief you got. He's going to be replaced, I promise you, within a year by a good commander-in-chief. God bless.